Greetings Tyrian adventurers, I'm Sirocco and today we're immersing ourselves in the vibrant world of Guild Wars 2 in 2024. If you're as excited as I am, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a new video. First up, let's talk about what keeps us all coming back, the gameplay. Guild Wars 2 has evolved its combat to an art form. Dynamic events shape the world around you and the living world injects fresh stories regularly. Let me share a bit about my journey with Guild Wars 2. I dived into this game ages ago and took a break around the Heart of Thorn expansion. Why the hiatus, you ask? Well, it wasn't a fallout with the game itself, but more about the direction the expansion was taking. The removal of cinematics and the shift to a more vertical map didn't quite vibe with me. Fast forward to now, returning to Guild Wars 2 was an eye-opener. It struck me. What sets this game apart is its RPG essence. The immersive storytelling takes precedence over the rush to an endgame content. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Coming back, I found myself lost in the living stories, engaging in dynamic combat and most importantly, having an absolute blast. It's like rediscovering an old friend and realizing what made it unique in the first place. Guild Wars 2 isn't just a game, it's an experience, a story waiting to unfold. Now let's dive into the social fabric of Guild Wars 2. It's not merely about vanquishing dragons, it's about weaving alliances and navigating a world that breathes with life, especially when you're doing it with friends. The burning question, is it genuinely a social MMO or do solo players find their niche too? Drawing from my personal experience, I've found that socializing in most MMOs, Guild Wars 2 included, can be a bit of a challenge. It's not like you can stroll into a new zone and suddenly have a guild welcoming committee. To make an MMO special, you've got to be social yourself. You can't expect people to fall into your lap if you're not willing to put yourself out there. During my time in Guild Wars 2, I've witnessed some heartwarming moments. Veteran players stepping into older zones to welcome newcomers. It's like a digital embrace, and it genuinely warms my heart. Here's the curveball. No queues for dungeons and raids. Guild Wars 2 flips the scripts, making it clear that to savor the full experience, you've got to embrace the social side of things. Sure, it can be a bit daunting at first, pushing you out of your comfort zone, but that's what sets Guild Wars 2 apart. It nudges you to interact, to engage with fellow players. It's not just a game, it's a journey that becomes richer when shared. So in the grand tapestry of MMOs, I'd say Guild Wars 2 leans more towards the social end of the spectrum. Why? Because it challenges you to break down those virtual walls and connect with the fantastic folks who call Tyria home. Now strap in, gear up, because it's time to dive into the adrenaline-pumping realm of Guild Wars 2 PvP. From the precision of structured battles to the sprawling chaos of world versus world, the PvP scene has undergone some major facelifts. Whether you're a seasoned gladiator or just dipping your toes into the arena, Tyria's battlegrounds are always buzzing with excitement. Now let's get personal. PvP has never really been my cup of virtual tea, but there's something about Guild Wars 2 that flips the script. The action combat system injects a sense of fluidity into the movements, and the absence of rigid trinity of roles lets you play the way you want to play. What's the real hook for me in Guild Wars 2 PvP? It's the low barrier to entry, almost like an open invitation to the party. I'm all about creating new characters. And the fact that I can jump straight into PvP without grinding for gear or leveling up is a game changer. It's instant gratification, and who doesn't love that? Yet don't let the ease fool you. There's a sky-high skill ceiling that keeps me hooked. It's like an art form. You get to express yourself in the chaos of the battle, and the constant quest for improvement becomes downright addictive. Guild Wars 2 PvP is that sweet spot where accessibility meets depth, making it a playground where both newbies and seasoned warriors can find their stride. Time to clash swords and cast spells in the ever-thrilling PvP arenas of Tyria. But what about monetization? Gold, gems, and the never-ending Fashion Wars saga. Let's unravel the mysteries of Arena.net's monetization in the grand year of 2024. We're delving into the Black Lion Trading Company, exclusive cosmetics, and probing into how players are reacting to in-game purchases. Does the system strike a harmonious balance between player joy and financial sustainability, or are there patches that need some polishing? Let's break it down. Now, when it comes to player responses, it's a bit of a mixed bag, a real grab bag if you will. Arena.net's monetization strategy seems to be a mosaic of various elements. In the vast landscape of free-to-play games, there are those that thrive solely on cosmetics and the occasional convenience item, and they do it with finesse. Guild Wars 2 could dance in the same arena, but here's a twist. Some of the convenience items feel like they're playing hard to get, especially when it comes to storage. It's like the game intentionally makes certain systems incredibly inconvenient, and let's face it, everyone needs storage. That's a universal truth. I wouldn't mind shelling out some extra coin for additional inventory space if the starting space was at least reasonable, matching the influx of stuff we accumulate. 3 times what it is now sounds fair. It's about giving players a fair deal, you know? And then there's this quirky dance with gear slots and spec slots. 2 gear slots, 3 spec slots, and gear slots are spicier than spec slots. Now that's a sly move, a tad too manipulative for my taste. It's these little maneuvers that leave a sour note in the mouth. But the grand finale, the pricey. Most items on the Black Lion trading post are tagged with a hefty price. Significantly hefty. Not only does it tick off players, but it's also not the best play for Arena.net. Imagine this. More people tossing more coins their way for a reasonably priced item? It's the psychological dance of affordability that could lure me into spending a few bucks a month. $50 on gems just for a couple of items? That's a tougher sell. Sure, there's no subscription fee, and there's material storage to ease the inventory crunch, but our brains don't exactly run on logic when it comes to these matters. It's a dance of perception and value that keeps players tapping their wallet, or in some cases, not tapping them at all. A true fashion words conundrum indeed. What about Guild Wars 3? If we are going to be talking about Guild Wars 2 in 2024, we have to talk about Guild Wars 3. The million gold question, fellow adventurers. Is Guild Wars 3 on the horizon, or are we merely lost in the realms of wishful thinking? What would we dream of seeing in a potential sequel, and how might it sculpt the future of a beloved franchise? Now let's set the record straight. Guild Wars 2 is not languishing in the shadows of stagnation. It's alive and kicking in active development mode. Fresh expansions are rolling out, and the promise of the next one is already on the horizon. The studio isn't whispering about Guild Wars 3, in fact they've made it crystal clear that Guild Wars 2 is their main squeeze. They're pouring effort into refining the engine, enhancing the quality of life within the game, and sprinkling in new features to keep us on our toes. So where does this notion of Guild Wars 3 comes from? Besides the occasional tinfoil hat theory post, what's fueling the flame? In essence, while the desire for a new era in Tyria is palpable, the reality seems to be firmly anchored in the ongoing saga of Guild Wars 2. As we continue to explore its expanding landscape and embrace the evolving features, the prospect of a third installment appears to be more of a distant mirage than a tangible reality. The adventure continues, and who knows what secrets the future holds for Tyria. As we approach the end of this epic journey, let's take a moment to reflect. Guild Wars 2 in 2024 unfolds as a tapestry of dynamic gameplay innovations and a thriving community that breathes life into Tyria. What are your musings on the current state of Tyria, and what do you envision for its potential future? As for me, well, it's safe to say that in 2024 you'll find me right here, immersed in the ever-evolving landscape of Guild Wars 2. The allure of Tyria and the promise of ongoing adventures are just too tempting to resist. How about you? Are you ready to continue the journey in Tyria's ever-expanding realms? If you've enjoyed this deep dive into Tyria, don't forget to hit the like button, share your Guild Wars 2 stories in the comments, and subscribe for more in-depth exploration of our favorite gaming worlds.